Guy working as maid. It was now mid-July, and we were in the middle of a heat wave. The air conditioning in my condo and at the store was always running flat out. It was a hot, muggy Friday evening, and I just finished work. I stopped for a salad at the local fast food place, as I seem to enjoy eating them now, instead of a greasy burger. I finished up my dinner and drove home. As I approached my condo, I saw flashing lights ahead, and the road was blocked by fire trucks and police. I pulled over my car and parked, then walked up to an officer. "What happened, officer? Why is the road blocked?" "There has been a fire at the condo down the street. It's really bad, and it's a 5-alarm fire so far." My heart leapt into my throat, and I had a really bad feeling about this. I walked along the sidewalk towards my condo. I stopped and stared in shock. My condo building was totally engulfed in flames, and even with all the firemen spraying water on the fire, it didn't seem to be under control in the least. My legs were wobbly, and I felt faint, so I sat down on the edge of the sidewalk and watched as the fire totally consumed my home. I didn't know what to do or where to go. My home was destroyed before my eyes as I watched the building collapse in on itself, still totally engulfed in flames. One of my neighbors saw me and walked up to me. I talked to him for a bit, and he told me the firemen thought there might have been an illegal marijuana grow up in the building, and the fire started there. He said we might have issues with the insurance because of it. He asked me if I had condo contents insurance. I didn't think so, and he said, "That's too bad since you will have to pay to replace everything that was in your unit." I got another chill down my spine. I had no idea what I was going to do. I only had a few dollars in my bank account and was barely making ends meet with the condo and food expenses and my clunker of a car, which always seemed to be breaking down on me. Just then, my cell phone rang, and I answered it. It was Miss Laru, and she asked me if the condo fire on TV was my condo. I told her, unfortunately, that was the case. She told me I could come over to stay at her home until I figured out what I was going to do about a place to live. I said thanks to her, and I would be over later on that evening. I drove up to Miss Laru's home, and she had left the lights on for me. I parked my car on the street, walked up, and knocked on the door. She answered and told me to come inside. "I really appreciate this, Miss Laru. I don't have any other family to stay with nearby, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do tonight." She gave me a smile and said, "Follow me, Danny, I will show you where your bedroom is, and you can freshen up." I followed her into her home, and she took me downstairs to a small bedroom suite that had an adjoining bathroom, along with a small sitting room with a couch, coffee table, and a TV. This suite would be used by a live-in maid, but it's not currently in use. Freshen up in the bathroom, and you can join me in the lounge later. I couldn't believe how lucky I was to have Miss Laru as a boss, and she would do this for me. I didn't find out the whole situation until the next morning. The next morning, I met Miss Laru in her kitchen. She asked me how I slept the night, and I told her not all that well. She offered me something to eat for breakfast, and I ate eggs and toast with a coffee. "I see you found the robe and slippers in the closet," as she gave me a big smile. "Danny, I have a proposition for you. As you know, I don't have a live-in maid right now staying with me. I can't offer you any more than part-time hours at work, but I was wondering if you would consider becoming my live-in maid, along with working at the store. I will let you live here rent-free as well as paying for food, and you will make the same amount of money that you presently do working part-time, so you will double your income if that sounds satisfactory to you." I took all of 10 seconds to say yes. Miss Laru handed me a sheaf of papers and told me, "This is a standard maid contract. Would you mind signing it on the last page?" Thinking back about it now, maybe I should have read the terms of the contract, but I was happy that I didn't have to sleep in my car, so I eagerly signed the document. Miss Laru smiled and said to me, "Well, let's get started, shall we?" We went back to my little maid suite, and Miss Laru opened the closet up. There were about a dozen maids' uniforms along with accessories and a few pairs of high-heel shoes. This will get you started, Danny. Please put one of these uniforms on. You will notice there is a vanity table in the bathroom with everything you need. When you are ready, please come upstairs and report to me in the lounge. I took a shower and shaved everything. I went through all the steps I had with Jane and did my makeup, nails, dressed up in the lingerie and stockings, pulled on the maid's uniform, put on my wig and the maid's bonnet, and I was ready. I put on my heels and walked upstairs to where Miss LaRue was waiting for me. I curtsied and asked, "What can I do for you, ma'am?" Miss LaRue looked me over and smiled at me, saying, "You have outdone yourself, Danielle, you really look terrific. You can start by cleaning the breakfast dishes and cleaning the kitchen. Then report back to me." I smiled and curtsied and minced over to the kitchen. I rinsed the plates and loaded the dishwasher, washed the frying pan and cooking utensils, and wiped down the kitchen table and the countertops and sink. I then returned to Miss LaRue, and curtsied, and asked what she would like me to do now. "Danielle, I have made up a daily schedule for you to follow, and it runs for 7 days, and then you repeat it. This will make it easy for you to follow and know what has to be done each day. Today is Saturday, so just start there, and I will also text you during the day to let you know what you will be preparing for each meal. Here is a new cell phone for you. I will either call you or text you the menus for each meal on this phone." She handed it to me. It had a little clip on it so that I could attach it to my uniform. I looked at the schedule, and the first thing was for me to go to Miss LaRue's bedroom, change the sheets and vacuum the bedroom floors and dust the furniture. I curtsied and minced off to start my next task. Housework is not the most exciting thing one can do during the day, and I just would think up songs in my head while I was doing the tasks. At 11:30 a.m. my phone chimed, and I had a text message from Miss LaRue. It told me to report to the kitchen and make up lunch. It gave me a menu and told me all the things needed were in the refrigerator and kitchen. I started making lunch, and when I was done with the menu, I placed the items in the fridge and went out and set the dining room table for Miss LaRue. I went back to the kitchen and waited for her to arrive for lunch. I heard the bell ring, and I reported to her with a curtsy. "You may bring out lunch now, Danielle, I would like a glass of lemonade as well." I went back to the kitchen and placed her lunch on a serving tray as well as a glass of lemonade for her. I brought them out and placed everything in front of her. She said, "Thank you, Danielle, you may go and eat your lunch in the kitchen. If I need anything else, I will ring." I curtsied and left for the kitchen. I finished my small salad and a glass of lemonade, and I heard Miss LaRue ring for me. I went back out and curtsied for her. "You may now clean up lunch and continue with your chores. I will be stepping out and going to the store to finish up some work. I will also bring back a few items of clothing for you since you don't have anything else to wear right now." I thanked Miss LaRue for her kindness, curtsied and returned with the dishes to the kitchen, and cleaned everything up. Later on in the afternoon, Miss LaRue returned with a few shopping bags. I minced up to her and asked, "Wow, is all of that for me?" "Yes, Danielle, it's all for you." I followed her into the lounge, and she began to pull out the clothes. My smile dropped away as I realized they were all women's garments. There were no men's clothing in the pile of things. All the shoes were women's shoes of various types and colors, sandals, pumps, Mary Janes, etc. "Excuse me, Miss LaRue, these are all women's clothing items." She gave me a big smile and replied, "But yes, Danielle. They are all women's clothes. As per your contract, it stipulates that while under my employ, as a maid, you will present as a woman at all times. Didn't you read the contract you signed?" I stuttered, trying to get a word out, and finally said, "No, Miss LaRue, I must have missed that part." "Not to worry, Danielle, I have taken care of your wardrobe. These items are all from the boutique, and I will be giving you the wholesale employee price for all these garments. I will place them on a tab for you. But what will I do at work, Miss LaRue? The girls will all laugh at me if I walk into work wearing a dress." "Don't worry, Danielle, I had an employee meeting today with them and will have another one on Monday morning before you come into work. You will find that no one will be laughing at you. But what will happen in September when I go back to school? Everyone there thinks of me as a boy, not as a girl. You worry too much, Danielle. I have also taken the necessary steps to contact your school, and everything is well in hand. I am also worried about your health and have scheduled an appointment for you on Monday morning with my personal physician, Dr. Sarah Bennett, and she will give you a complete physical and take some blood tests to make sure you are healthy. How are you coming along with your daily tasks? I have finished them all, except for making dinner, and I am looking forward to receiving your text message for the menu. Very good, Danielle, you may take these clothes to your suite and find a place there to put everything away. Thank you, Miss Laru, I am glad that you are helping me out, it's just this was unexpected. Don't worry, Danielle, you will find everything will be coming together, and you will enjoy your life here. I curtsied and took all my new clothes back to my little suite. I removed all the tags and packed all the new items away in my room, then sat down and waited for Miss Laru's text message. My mind was racing. How did I get into this mess? She expects me to dress like a girl all the time now, and I will probably be dressing like a girl when I go back to school. I hope the guys don't beat me up too badly. I had no one to call and no one to discuss this with. I wasn't about to call up any of my friends and tell them, hey, guess what? The next time you see me, I will be wearing a dress to school. Oh my God. This was real. Just then, my phone chimed, and there was a new text message from Miss Laru with the dinner menu. It didn't look too hard to make: a roast chicken, potatoes, vegetables, and a salad. I went back upstairs to prepare the meal and get it in the oven. I set up Miss Laru's place setting on the dining room table and waited in the kitchen for the meal to cook. Dinner was ready by 6 p.m., and I heard Miss Laru's bell ring in the dining room. I presented myself and curtsied. I asked Miss Laru how she would like me to prepare your meal. Should I just bring everything out, or would you like me to plate your meal? In that case, how much chicken would you like, or if you had a preference for light or dark meat? She gave me her preference and asked me to plate her meal. I curtsied and returned to the kitchen where I cut the chicken and gave her a combination of light and dark meat, along with stuffing, mashed potatoes, veggies, and a salad, with a glass of iced tea. I brought her meal out on a serving tray and set her plates in front of her. Thank you, Danielle, this looks lovely. I will ring if I need anything else. I curtsied, I was getting really good at curtsies, and returned to the kitchen to eat my dinner. I had a small amount of everything and enjoyed it with a glass of iced tea as well. Just as I finished my meal, I heard the bell ring. I went out to Miss Laru, and she asked me to make her some coffee, and she would like canned peaches and ice cream for dessert. I told her, right away, ma'am, I will bring everything out when the coffee is ready, and returned to the kitchen to start the coffee going. When the coffee was ready, I brought her a cup of coffee, black, with a small bowl of canned peaches with a scoop of ice cream on top. I curtsied and returned to the kitchen and enjoyed my coffee while I began to clean things up and put away the leftover food. With my day over, I returned to my suite and removed the maid's uniform. I took a shower, removed my makeup, and dressed in a really sexy negligee and my robe and slippers. I sat down and watched a bit of TV before I turned in for the night. Sunday was a repeat of Saturday. I continued with my tasks and made the meals for Miss Laru and me. Miss Laru was quite busy and was in her study working for almost the entire day. On Monday morning, my alarm went off at 6 a.m. I got up, had another shower, shaved anything with hair on it, and put on my makeup. Once I was finished, I dressed in another of the maid's uniforms and went upstairs to the kitchen to make myself some breakfast. I started the coffee going and made myself some scrambled eggs and toast with a cup of yogurt and blueberries. Once I had eaten, I waited for Miss Laru to get up, so I could make her breakfast as well. I heard the bell ring from the dining room, so I curtsied before her and asked what she would like for breakfast while setting a black coffee and orange juice in front of her. She gave me her order, and I made up a small fruit cocktail and 2 pieces of French toast for her. After breakfast, she informed me that my appointment with her doctor was at 11 a.m., and she gave me the address so that I could drive myself there. She also told me to come into the store after I was finished at the doctor's office. I cleaned up the dining room and kitchen and washed everything and put it all away, then returned to my suite, where I changed into a lovely flowing blue dress. I wore black stockings and heels with it and put on a few accessories to make it look better. This was the first time I was going out by myself, dressed like a woman. I was really anxious, and my nerves were shot. Miss LaRue told me, "Don't worry, Danielle, you have been in a dress in front of hundreds of people during the fashion shows and the storefront display, you look great." Yes, but. No buts, Danielle, you won't have any problems today. With that, she dismissed me and left the house for work. I waited about an hour on pins and needles and then left to go to the doctor. I drove so carefully to the doctor, as my mind was racing. What if I got in an accident or was pulled over and the cop looks at my ID? I made it to the doctor without incident and sat in the waiting room until they called my name. "Danielle LaRue?" called the receptionist nurse. I got up and said, "Hi, my name is Danielle, but my last name isn't LaRue." The nurse looked at me and said, "That's who I have written down here." I just replied, "It's fine, I will talk to Miss LaRue later." With that, I walked into the examination room, and soon Dr. Bennett entered. She said, "Hello Danielle, how are you today?" I told her I was not really a girl, but I was dressed as one. "I understand, Danielle, I had a long talk with Miss LaRue. She really thinks highly of you and thinks you're doing great and coming along quite nicely. I am going to give you a complete physical, and the nurse will draw blood for tests, so let's get started." I undressed down to my lingerie, and she told me it was all quite pretty and that I really present well as a woman. I thought that was a little strange but just said, "Thank you, I appreciate that." She examined me, and we completed the physical and the nurse drew my blood, and I filled a little cup for the urine tests. The doctor then told me, "I will write up the prescriptions for you, and Miss LaRue will pick them up for you at the pharmacy on her way home today." I was wondering what prescriptions I needed, as I never really had taken any drugs other than for a headache. "Well, unless you have any questions, we are finished here. You may put your dress back on, Danielle." I smiled but said I didn't have any questions for her. "Good." She said, "Have a great day," and left the room. I left the doctor's office and drove into town, and went into the store. There were a few of the girls waiting at the time clock, and they all clapped when they saw me. "We are so happy for you, Danielle. If you ever have any questions for us, we will be happy to answer them for you. Miss LaRue asked us to tell you to go upstairs and meet her in her office." I didn't know what to say, but I was happy that no one was laughing at me for wearing a dress to work. I walked upstairs to Miss LaRue's office. Her receptionist smiled and gave me a congratulatory hug as well and told me to walk in, as Miss LaRue was waiting for me. Miss LaRue was beaming from ear to ear when she saw me walk into her office. "Sit down, Danielle, and pull up to my desk. I have a few papers for you to sign, and then I will take you out to lunch, my treat." She showed me where to sign on the pages, and once again, I just signed my name without reading any of them. I asked what these were all about. She replied, "Just some formalities to get out of the way." Miss LaRue gathered the papers all up and said, "Great, let's go to lunch, shall we?"